Hi guys, Togo here with a new video, and this video will be my Marksmanship Hunter PvP guide video for Season 4 of PvP 9.2.7 in Shadowlands. And of course, I've made this guide because I've played a lot of Marksmanship these days. Pretty much only played it in twos, in threes. Everything I do, I try to do with my Marksmanship Hunter. I try also to do a lot of covenant swaps, so I played all the covenants, and I've decided to make a video about this specific build. So we are going to jump right in. So before we start, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. Like the video if you like the video. If you want to support my channel, you can also become a member on the channel. But we can just jump right in and comment below what you have learned with this video. So we are on our Marksmanship Hunter. Of course, Blood Elf is not the best race. I don't know what I had in my mind by making a Blood Elf Hunter, but if you want to be more competitive, I would play maybe an Orc, or if you want to play Alliance, you could play as a human or a Night Elf. That would be my suggestion, since you can play Craven Stratagem and basically don't need to go Iron Dwarf, but you could still go for Iron Dwarf. Yeah, and like Horde side, I would just play Orc. I think Orc is probably the best for hunters in general, but let's jump right in. So we're going to discuss about the gear, the stats that you want to go for as a hunter. If you want to do big damage, or if you want to have a smooth rotation, that's also possible. You could also talk about the covenants, the conduits that you're going to use, the talents, PvP talents, and the comps that you can play in twos and in threes, and of course what is the place in the meta for Marksmanship Hunter. So we're going to start with the legendary and the gear that you are actually going to go for, at least as much as you can. So stats wise, I would just definitely go for Mastery as a Marksmanship Hunter. Since I'm playing Necrolord, big surprise, you can see the abilities but also the icon, and you do Fleshcraft, basically you will have a 50% increased damage on your abilities. It's pretty nasty because sometimes a rapid fire can solo kill someone whenever you're doing your double type with a Death Chakram, for example. So it's very strong. Also, I really like how it feels, like the damage. Every time I do an aim shot, every time I do a rapid fire, every time I'm doing a arcane shot, it is worth it. Also, the rage increase is actually very nice. You're outraging most casters, pretty much all casters really, and yeah, it's a fun build. Of course, you can play more haste or more like half, but I've tested both and I felt like Mastery was the stat that makes me actually have fun with my Marksmanship Hunter. But I did play haste too. It works, although you will feel a bit less damage on your rapid fire, but you will have a more smooth rotation. I also prioritize a bit of crits because I like to crit most of my abilities, and since I'm not playing Kyrian, critting does feel satisfying whenever I'm going for a all-in. While, for example, as a Kyrian, your goals are really telegraphed, and whenever you don't crit, or whenever someone walks out of your zone, like the arrow, resonating arrow, it just feels bad because you have no value outside of that. So the Necrolord Shield and Death Chakrams just helps me smooth out the actual rotation. The legendaries that I'm actually playing are Surging Shots. Like 90% of my games I'm playing this because it is so disgusting. The damage is so nice. Whenever I'm not playing it, I feel like I regret to not play it. Sometimes someone is walking around with 10% HP. I would think like if I had that legendary, he would be dead a long time ago. Of course, I'm also playing with Craven Stratagem on my chest, although you can also move it to another piece, like for example your neck or whatever. But it's also a very interesting legendary because again it gives you more of a slippery feel whenever you're kiting, whenever you're trying to survive damage. If I'm playing versus an Arms Warrior, most Arms Warriors are playing Spear of Bastion. I would then play Craven Stratagem so I can always feign death the Spear of Bastion. But that would be the only reason why I would feign death then. If I'm playing versus an Affliction Lock with a Shadow Priest, I would play that. If I'm playing like specific comps where I feel like if I'm like feign deathing that specific spec, like for example Feral Druid whenever he's doing a go, like for example the Sickle, you can just dispel it and it's actually very good. So again, I would always make that Craven Stratagem chess piece just because it gives you a lot of safetiness, a lot of, how can I say, a slippery feeling, but my main legendary would still be Surging Shots because it just feels alright. Like my rapid fire does insane damage, and whenever I'm doing a double tap go with a Death Chakram, for example, it just gives you multiple reasons to kill people in one go. I also fake my goes. Most my goes are actually faked, and then someone is popping CDs and they just die instantly because of it. I play a full mastery, so you see I have the Master of Phaedron ring, although I don't have the right stats. I don't care. I'm not rich. I didn't really buy a second ring, so although it's not very expensive, I don't like to rebuy stuff. I'll put my Unity on the belt because I don't have mastery belts in PvP, so I put the belt Unity so I can actually choose my stats and make it that I'm full mastery on every piece, or at least close to every piece. Alright, so let's discuss about talents and PvP talents. Talents, you're not very flexible. Those are the talents that you're always going to play. So basically, I'm playing Master Marksman because the damage is alright. It's passive, you don't need to think. Sometimes you can play Serpent Sting, but I feel like, again, you will have to put a GCD on it, and you're playing with low haste, so you don't have a lot of value on it. Murder of Crows, I don't like it. I just don't like it. A Careful Aim, I feel like it's the best on this row. You could play Explosive Shot, but again, you are GCD starved. You have always something to press. If it's not a trap, if it's not Binding Shot, if it's not doing a multiple go, for example, if it's not just trying to build focus with Rapid Fire or Steady Shot, you have always something to press, and it's difficult to actually justify Explosive Shot with multiple specs countering it. Careful Aim basically gives you a passive doing 35% bonus damage to targets who are above 17% health. It's quite nice because sometimes you're going to hit without a go 32k crit on aim shot. Gives you like a small goal because of it. Some people will just like try to get away from you or try to put defensive CDs on themselves because they think you're doing a big go, but you really didn't press double type, for example. So they are going to press CDs while you're not pressing CDs, and the next go you're probably going to kill that guy. So I really like playing Careful Aim. Camouflage, most of my games, actually 99% of my games are with Camouflage because I will discuss it about in the PvP talent section, but it gives you like a great go from the get-go. It gives you the time to actually channel a aim shot or a sniper shot, for example, and then you can just do your regular gore, or you're going to play a bit more defensive, or you're going to play a bit of both. So you're trying to fake a go so they can pop CDs, and then you can do your real go. It's actually very nice to have that opportunity as a hunter. I'm playing Streamline because, again, I'm playing more rapid fire instead of all like those two talents. Post Haste is for me the best talent on the 40 row. You could play Born to be Wild with the legendary, which is Call of the Wild, but I don't have it. Then you have like aspects being like ridiculous CD wise, but problem is I don't like to give up my Surging Shots legendary. But you could try with Born to be Wild with Call of the Wild, but I like Post Haste because, again, it disengaged, just frees you from movement impairing effects, and also increases your movement speed. So it's always nice. So you have a freedom plus another freedom on your pet, plus for example your healer that can also dispel some negative effects, and your Feign Death also dispelling some magical effects. So you have a lot of good things going on as a hunter. I'll play with double tap, obviously. Don't need to really discuss those two. And I'll play lock and load. I see a lot of people also play with volley because you can gain a trick shot because of it. But again, I don't like it. I prefer to have lock and load. Give me a instant aim shot. that costs no focus and be instant, so it gives you a bit of a small go just because of it. Sometimes you can have lock and load and you're like loading up your sniper shot, yeah, then you have like pretty much a 40k go directly without doing rapid fire, without doing double tap. So I like the talent. At least it's also passive, and you have a lot of buttons to press as a marksmanship hunter because you have to actually build your damage up and also try to fake goes, try to do some mind games with people. So I'm going to talk, before we talk about PvP tons, I'm always playing with a pet because I want to have that increased movement speed of pathfinding, but I also want to play with Master Skull because it gives you a freedom every 45 seconds, and God knows that you will need to kite most of the damage because else you're going to flop over. So I play with Roar of Sacrifice 99% of my games, except if I'm playing versus an Affliction Lock with in a Shadow Priest, for example. Crits are not going to kill me, so I'm just going to switch out and go for Dragon Scale Armor. So that's pretty much my go-to. If I don't see them crit a lot, I will just go for Dragon Scale Armor and basically giving them a bit less opportunities to grind our team with dots. I'm a hunter, so most of the games they don't even want to dot me, but when they do, I just feign death it. I take the damage because again I'm not playing Craven Stratagem. I would play Craven Stratagem into different comps if I'm playing with a comp where we are going to suffer AoE damage. I'm going to play Craven Stratagem, for example. So Dragon Scale Armor, very good versus them, for example. I'm playing like most of my games with Survival Tactics because again, it's not really about the dispel from harmful magical effects, but it's mostly the reduced 90% damage taken. And that's pretty big because sometimes you're on the verge of dying, you're doing your Survival Tactics feign death, and you're going to survive damage that you would otherwise maybe lose or just die from it. So it's a very good passive to have. You're going to destroy Warlocks because of it. You're not going to die. Like, for example, Destruction Warlocks. So it's a very good talent. Very good talent. Sniper Shot is my go-to damaging PvP talent. So you have multiple choices. You can go for Sniper Shot. You could go for Chimeral Sting, which is an instant that does quite a lot of damage, but also it just reduces the 90% the movement speed by 90%, then silences, and then 20% reduced damage and healing for about 3 seconds. But it's strong, but I really like Sniper Shot with current health and current meta. People are over 100k health in PvP most of the time, especially Warlocks, which can hit 110k health. Whenever you're doing a Sniper Shot, you will do between 20k and 35k damage regardless, because it's super strong. Versus an Outlaw Rogue, it's also very strong in trees. In twos, it's a bit difficult to do a Sniper Shot versus an Outlaw Rogue, but in trees, you're going to have a field trip versus them. Versus Warlocks, if you're doing a Sniper Shot, their Dark Pact is non-existent, especially whenever you're doing a go with it with a camouflage, for example. So you're in camouflage, you're doing a Sniper Shot, and then, for example, aim shot, they're going to panic, they're going to use CDs, and then whenever the CDs are over, you do a double tap rapid fire with a Death Chakrams, for example, and you're doing a lot of damage. People are just not going to notice how they are going to die, and it is because of it. And remember, it has a 10-second CD, so whenever you're doing Sniper Shot versus Warlock, you know you're going to do a 30k Sniper Shot minimum. And that's very big, because 30k, it means that you have to create an aim shot, for example, or it's a full rapid fire damage rotation, for example, or it's like 2 big procs from arcane shots with crits. It's very big. Sniper Shot is such a great ability versus Warlock, so if you're playing versus Warlocks, just play Sniper Shot, try to do a lot of Sniper Shots in the game, try to do a small go and then a big go and then the Sniper Shot go, and you're going to win games more easily. So those are my picks. If you're playing versus Resto Druids in twos, I would sometimes just not play Sniper Shot, I would just play Tranquilizing Darts. It is super strong because it reduces the duration of beneficial magic effects by 4 seconds, and you can take multiple darts. It's also strong versus Fire Mages, so if you're playing versus a Fire Mage, he is not going to survive any of your damage because, again, you're going to do Tranquilizing Darts, with your Dispel Tranquilizing Shot, and pretty much they are going to be screwed. Like their combust is going to fall off, or their alter time is going to fall off, or the duration will fall off, so they can't go back, or they think that they can go back but it couldn't because of the duration, or for example the barriers. So you have so many good things to actually use your tranquilizing darts with, which is super important. And sometimes I'm just going to hop off sniper shot to just get that and be annoying for the enemy team. You can also play Consecutive Concussion, which is a very good PvP talent. I wish I had a 4th PvP talent for that, but often than not I don't have enough PvP talents. And that gives you basically a 70% slow on your concussive shot, which is pretty big if you want to kite people, but also gives you a stun whenever your team doesn't have a stun. You can do 3 times that study shot and then you will get a 4-second stun, basically guaranteeing you at least an aim shot on them, on their allies. So it's a very good talent. Again, it's very hard to actually use it because you will have to sacrifice one of those 3 talents, and often than not it's hard to actually make concessions on this. You could also play with Scatter Shot, but I feel like often than not I can land my traps because I play in trees, so they can stun my target, or I'm going to Binding Shot trap them, or I'm going to disengage towards them, try to fake a trap and then trapping them. It's not always easy because I'm playing a Marksmanship Hunter. If I was a BM or a Survival Hunter, it's much easier to actually land a trap, but you can also concussive shot the target. He will be slowed, it will be easier to trap, and yeah, sometimes it's very hard versus the Resto Druid, for example, but I feel like Scatter Shot is a PvP talent that should be baseline for Marksmanship Hunter, but it isn't, so for now it is not possible to play Scatter Shot, at least for me. High explosive trap, I play that in RBGs, for example, in random BGs, versus specific comps. For example, Warrior DH, for example, and you're playing on the on specific maps where you can push people off the ledges, for example. So it's a very good talent. But again, you will need to sacrifice one of those 3 talents, and sometimes it is very hard to actually switch those talents out. True Shot Mastery, I never played nowadays because I feel like True Shot doesn't really justify giving a PvP talent for that specific city. Ranger's Fitness, I don't really play it, although it seems good because it reduces the aspect of turtle exhilaration, I cannot even speak, by 5 seconds. But the problem is you don't have a lot of time to cast a lot of aim shots. Whenever you're going to cast aim shots, you're going to do a lot of damage, and whenever you're not doing it, you're trying to kite, and that's pretty much the times where you need a turtle or you will need your heal to actually survive the damage. Hunting Pack, unfortunately, it's a very good talent, but it's not usable. The aspect of the cheetah is very long. It's a 3-minute CD, unfortunately. I wish it was a bit smaller of a CD, but it isn't, so yeah, it's hard to justify, very hard. Again, I've already talked about Tranquilizing Darts, already talked about Consecutive Concussion, and Wall's Kingdom is not usable for me, at least. It's not worth it. Alright, so those are the talents. Let's discuss about the covenants. So we played Necrolord, and basically those are the soulbinds I'm playing like most of my games, which is Necrotic Barrage, I play Rejuvenating Wind, I play Brutal Projectiles, Ambuscade, Ultimate Form, Powerful Precision, Vicious Trail, Resilience of the Hunter, and Kevin's Oozling. Sometimes, whenever I feel a bit cocky, I would just go and play this route, which gives you a 12% increased damage done to the target for 15 seconds. And you're going to obliterate people for 15 seconds, and then this is just not usable anymore for that specific arena battle. So it's risky because I like the Ooze Frictionless Coating, which is basically a great self shield. But if you want to do some great one-shots, you could play this route. You don't really need Necrotic Barrage, and Cheetah's Figure is actually very nice because it gives you reduced CD, and also the secondary movement speed lasts an additional 3 seconds. So that would be my build. So let's talk about comps. In twos, I had a bit of success with Stability Rogues, but the Stability Rogue will need to play for you and not the other way around. So he will need to peel you or play for you. So the stunts that he's going to use is to set up you and not themselves. The saps, the blinds, those are all the things that they need to press to enable me, for example. Of course, they can also kill in a shadowy duel, or they can kill in a smoke bomb. But if they are smoke bombing the target, more often than not, I'm going to sniper shot that target and he's going to get deleted, for example. You can also play with a healer. I would recommend a Holy Priest or a Resto Druid. You could also make it work with a Mistweaver Monk, but sometimes it is very hard to justify it because they can get kicked most of the time because of being the lone caster of the team. You could play also with a Fire Mage, although it's suboptimal. You can play with Feral Druid, which is quite nice, but you will need to find a good Feral Druid to actually make it work. In twos, you have actually a lot of comps that can work, but I would recommend to play with a healer, which is more of a dampening game. Not really dampening, but you will probably win in 2 or 3 goes. Sometimes in 1 go if they are like underestimating you. And you can play double DPS, which are actually super fast games, but it is risky. You will need to kite a lot, and sometimes you're going to lose games which would be winnable if with a healer, for example. In trees, I would play KFC, so you play with an Arms Warrior or a Fury Warrior as Necrolord or a Kyrian. Necrolord gives you big damage, and the Spear of Bastion should also give you big damage too as a Kyrian. But that's preference from the warrior. I prefer to play with a Spear of Bastion because it gives me some kiting possibilities, but also some peel. And Necrolord is also quite nice, but I feel like I miss Spear of Bastion most of the games, so play with a Kyrian warrior and you will be good. You can also play with a Retribution Paladin, but that's very bursty. It's a bit harder to trap the targets, but if your Paladin actually plays with stun on the healer, you can then go for a trap, and more often than not, the DPS will die like instantly. You can also play Tug, so with a rogue. I would recommend to play with a sub rogue or with an assassination rogue, but I prefer to play with a sub. It gives you more possibilities to actually kite and to actually play around setups. And those are pretty much the comps that I would go for. You can also make it work with a DK, but it's a bit more bursty, and you will sometimes suffer versus physical damage comps. Those are the comps that I would recommend in trees. In RBGs, you will have difficulties to find a place because there is still a stigma. People just don't like to play with a marksmanship hunter. That's just the way how it is, unfortunately. But if you want to make it work, I would just recommend to create your own groups, and you pick a big front line, for example, a warrior, a DK, and a Retribution Paladin, and then a rogue to sit on the bases, and you will need like 1 caster friend with you, so they get focused and you will not get focused, and you can pretty much do big damage every time you're doing sniper shots, every time you're doing rapid fire goes. With trick shot, it is going to AoE everyone, and you will end up with top damage of the BG. But yeah, that's pretty much the explanation on those comps and playstyles. So let's talk about the rotation. So I'm going to, of course, hit the training dummy. The thing that you should know, on a training dummy, you will do sniper shots for 20k, but again, if it's a warlock, it's going to be a 30k sniper shot. So often than not, I will just do camouflage, I will just do sniper shot, and then follow up with a aim shot, which is also very slow. And of course, we will weave in some arcane shots. And basically, on that moment, they will just pop CDs for some reason. You will like the trap whenever you can. You do a trap, you get a proc, for example, you just use your procs, and whenever you feel like you're having a second go, you can just go for a sniper shot again. You will go for death chakrams and then double tap. You will not use true shot, and that's pretty much a big go where you're going to kill people. And then they will use their like last CDs, and then you can just do a second go with your true shot without double tap. You can actually like derail their CDs, and then you will have a free double tap go whenever it goes back up. So now I'm going to do a true shot go with a rapid fire. I'm going to spam my abilities now. And that's pretty much the goal that you're going for. And often the people are going to probably die most often than not. But if they are not dying, then you can still CC the targets. Of course, how to play defensive, you will have to kite a lot with binding shot, with of course traps with the slow card trap, which is also very nice. You can also always apply your Hunter's Mark on the rogue, helps you a ton too, or with the hunter. Or the Resto Druid, for example. And now you have this Chakram and double tap again, and you're going to build your focus back up. You will do a sniper shot with a double tap rapid fire. So you do aim shot, arcane shot, Death Chakrams, double tap, and then you go for a rapid fire, and that's pretty much a kill. People will just not survive this damage, especially if the healer is CC'd or they don't have CDs. That's pretty much your go. Why I really never play without the pet. The pet itself does a lot of damage. If you're watching, the pet does 40k melee with 27k claw. So basically 5% of my damage is the pet. Of course, the lone wolf gives you 10% increased damage, so it will always do more damage than your pet. That it is what it is, but you will have a lot of utility because of Master Skull, which is basically a freedom. You will have Roar of Sacrifice to defend you, and yeah, your pet gives you also a MS effect. And sometimes whenever you're playing with a Retribution Paladin, you will not have Mortal Wounds effects, and you will need Mortal Wounds to actually do big damage because they will just heal that through. So you want to have a reduction on healing so you can actually have significant damage. If you're not having like throughput on your damage and you have difficulties to actually kill people, it's because you're not playing with a pet, or you're not playing with a comp which has a mortal wound effect, for example. So that's pretty much the guide that I wanted to discuss. Of course, let me know in the comment section below what you think about Marksmanship Hunter. I will try to put gameplay at the end of the video again, so you can also watch what I'm doing in 2s or in 3s. And I hope you learned something from Marksmanship Hunters. I prefer to play Necrolord because it just feels alright. Venthyr I tried, I didn't really like it because I don't play with a lot of haste. And I feel like BM and Survivor Hunter needs Venthyr to actually do significant consistent damage. But I feel like as a Marksmanship Hunter, I want to do a lot of burst damage. And burst, I want to be able to control it by doing Death Chakram or Resonating Arrow as Kyrian. But even Kyrian, I don't really like it because it's very visible whenever you're doing a big go. Whenever you're doing a Resonating Arrow, they will know that you're doing it. You also don't have Necrolord, like the Necrolord Shield, Fleshcraft, which is a big reduction on damage taken because it's basically a 20% health shield, which is very big. It can save your life, it can also break CC because of it. So yeah, I like the playstyle of Necrolord, and I feel like you should also try Necrolord out if you haven't done that yet. So thank you for watching this video, I really appreciate you. Again, let me know in the comment section below if you learned something about Marksmanship Hunter. If anything, you can ask me questions in the comments. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. Like the video if you like the video, and be sure to be safe. We will see each other very soon. Have a great day. Bye.